for women. To register for the financial business class, go to poolnation.com. You'll see a button there. You can register for that class. And then next week, we'll be releasing some details for the networking event, and we'll have a page up so that the women can get out there and register, Zach.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really good event for the people that attend. And networking is such a huge part of being a business owner that I think a lot of people miss out on and don't take advantage of. So kudos to those who attend and capitalize on this opportunity. Because one thing that I've learned through my journey is a lot of it is about who you know and the network you create. So I think it's super important. So make sure that you guys attend that. All right, Paul, we have a lot of good stuff to get into today. And to start out, I'd like our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So could you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the pool industry?
Well, thanks. Yeah. I was kind of a late entry into the pool industry, at least in terms of where I was at in my career back in about 2007. I had sold an interest in a business that I had. And of course, what an employed business executives do when they have an opportunity like that is you become a consultant, right? So that's what I did. I did that for a couple of years. And in the process of doing that, I ran into a couple of fellows by the name of Dennis Ruja and Terry Maskey. And they had been issued a patent for a product that skimmed swimming pools autonomously using solar power. And they had even gotten to the point where they had this prototype that they had developed and built. But, like other entrepreneurs or anybody with a great idea, were struggling to figure out how to get it to market, to find the capital they needed, and that sort of thing. And so my wife and I put one of these in our pool, and we said, "Wow, this is pretty amazing." Our pool all of a sudden was way cleaner than it's ever been before. And we said, well, this seems like a pretty good idea. And so we ended up, we made an investment in the business. We set up a new company, Solar Pool Technologies at the time, with Dennis as a partner in the business. And we kind of took it from there. And, it was, so that was really, I hadn't had any real background in the pool industry. My background before that was farm and construction equipment and fire trucks and emergency vehicles. And so, but I had, some entrepreneurial, experience. And so we just kind of continued from there. And we finally got a product that we introduced into the marketplace, 3 years later, after, quite a bit more money and quite a bit more time and effort than any of us expected. And so we introduced the Solar Breeze in the fall of 2011, and it kind of took the business from there through all kinds of challenges and upheavals. So that's how I got. That's a little background on me and how I got involved in the pool industry.
I do have to tell you, Zach, one of the things that I love is really kind of getting to meet all these people in the pool industry, because you hear all their backgrounds, and it's amazing. And I've enjoyed, Paul, talking to you and your background and with the emergency. And one of the things that I love, Zach, is you talk to all these different, business people, and they all have these different strengths and these different things to run their businesses and to kind of be successful and to keep pushing forward. So I really enjoy that part because I learn, and I kind of try to imitate some of the things that I learn from everybody that I meet. So I want you to tell us a little bit about the history of Ariel and kind of where you started with it, kind of a little bit the ups and downs, and kind of where you guys are at today.
Yeah, well, it's quite a journey, and almost none of it matches up with the business plan that we originally wrote, as you can probably expect. So, as I mentioned, we got the first version of the Solar Breeze introduced into the market about 2011. And I think that first year we sold about 1,000 units, which for us we thought that was pretty awesome. About 40% of them broke down. And so we had that to deal with. Unfortunately, our early customers were also our beta testers. But, we've always kind of taken the philosophy of, if you make a mistake, you go out there and accept it and look after it. and try to make things right for the customer. And so sometimes even if you make mistakes, customers will be patient with you. And we're fortunate that a lot of ours were. So we had another iteration and another iteration. And by about 2014, we kind of dialed it into the point where the unit was operating, reasonably well. But we were, struggling for cash. And, the thing I hadn't really understood when we got involved in the business was just how much capital it was going to take to really build and grow this business. And so we were kind of teetering on the brink of an extinction event
Oh,
about
wow.
that point in time. And so we said, well, let's give this one more kick at the can. And so we launched a Kickstarter campaign with the new version of the product we had developed at the time, which was the Solar Breeze NX. And we launched the Kickstarter in July of 2015. And our target was to raise about a little over $300,000 because that was going to give us enough capital to go to our supply chain and manufacture some products so that we could stay in business in 2016. And so we launched that Kickstarter campaign in late July 2015, I think it was. And by 2 weeks later, we had hit our target. And it was really gratifying because a lot of people had stepped up to order, and essentially you were pre-ordering the next version of Ariel that would be delivered in the spring of 2016. And a lot of the people that stepped up and pre-ordered were existing customers of ours, right? And who wanted to see us survive, wanted to see the product survive. But we also got a lot of new customers in the process. And by the time the campaign was done, we'd raised a little over $400,000. And I think at the time, I'm sure things have changed now. At the time, it was one of the top 1,000 projects on Kickstarter. So we took that capital, we went back to our suppliers, and at that time we were managing all of our own supply chain. So we got the parts built, we got them delivered to our final assembler in China. We were building the product in China at the time, or having it built in China, and got it built and got it delivered. And of course, we'd promised we'd deliver product in March, which turned into April, which turned into finally in May of 2016. We got product delivered to customers, and we had a new life. And we've been able to kind of grow and build a business since then. But we still had a struggle on an ongoing basis of how do we close the gap between when we need to be investing in our supply chain and when we get paid by our customers. And that's one of the big struggles in this business because it's so seasonal. And so it was in the fall of 2016 that we connected up with a company called Pivot International. Pivot is a international company that with manufacturing plants all over the world and engineering capabilities all over the world as well. And they took on our contract manufacturing for us and also helped us with some engineering work. Also provided us with some capital. They funded the inventory initially, so that helped us out as well. And so we grew with Pivot support through 2017, 18, and then in 2020 is when we sort of decided that really to take this company to the next level, we needed to have, not just we really needed to restructure the business again. And so that's when we established Pivot Solar Breeze, now Pivot Pool Products, and Pivot bought a controlling interest in the company. Myself and some of the other original shareholders still have a small minority interest. But they really poured their energy and resources into the company and have helped to grow it. And we introduced a new product and we've just done a lot of restructuring to the business that gives us an opportunity to really grow. So the relationship with Pivot has been critical to helping us survive and kind of take the business to the next level. And, I want to publicly thank Mark Donalick, who's the CEO of Pivot, and the whole team there for getting behind us and being as committed to what we're trying to do as we are.
That's great. Hey, before we continue, Zach, I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's jumped online here. I know that we're kind of coming back from vacation, so I sent the email. But Daniel Bowden out there, big shout out to you. Of course, Zach, he started with hi, John, hi, Zach, hi, Edgar. Edgar's third down on the list. So he's been doing that to me for like the last 7 podcasts. So, Daniel, I got you, brother. I got you. I'm going to watch you up at the Pool Nation Awards, and I think I'm going to get even. I think I'm going to surprise him and make him come up on stage or something. Zach, what do you think?
Oh yeah,
For
come
sure,
something
right?
good.
For sure. So Daniel, I know that you're having fun with me, but I got yours coming, buddy. So, Kelly, big, huge shout out to you for jumping on there. Maria, Jeanette, Kevin, First Response out there. Jeanette, thank you so much. And First Response are super excited to see us back online. So, everybody out there, appreciate you guys being on.
Absolutely. So I want to back up. It's a really cool story, and I love to see how you guys continued to push even when it got scary, because reaching that scary point makes you question what you're doing and if it's worth the pursuit. And you guys persevered, and now you're doing great big things. So huge congratulations there. What I would like to know is, how does the manufacturing component work? So you have this idea, which I don't know how many people I've talked to in my life that they say, "Oh, I thought of that 10 years ago and I just never came up with it." So you have this great idea, right? Where do you even start to bring it to life? Like, how do you get that process going?
Well, I really need to give credit to Dennis Ruja, who was the original partner in the business, because by the time I came on board, we already had some of the supply chain issues resolved. And Dennis, made a trip to China and found a relationship over there with a contract manufacturer, and that was how things got started, and was able to convince them to fund the initial build of the product, the prototype products that we had. So, I think the critical point is find a relationship, especially if you're in the hardware business. Software is a different thing. You can write software. You can get a few people together, and it's more complicated than that. But you don't necessarily have to buy parts. You don't have to figure out how to assemble them. You don't have to do all those sorts of things. The hardware business is harder than I expected it to be by a long stretch. And of course, we made a lot of mistakes in terms of who we partnered with initially as well. And in retrospect, we should have spent a lot more time than we did trying to figure out who to partner with on the supply chain and how to really get together. If we'd have found a relationship like the one we have with Pivot earlier on, we'd probably been a lot further down the path over those first few years than we did. So, figuring out who you're partnering with and partnering with the right people is a real critical thing, and something we probably should have spent quite a bit more time on initially as well.
Hey, we're going to continue here. I know that our feed here is starting to come alive. I think everybody's starting to get the link. So I do want to give a shout out here to Janie, Lindsay out in Florida. Big shout out to you out there. For everybody, I forgot to mention that John is not joining us today because John is coming out to Texas. So he was wrapping up some stuff to pack it up and come out to Texas. So I'm super excited to kind of get him out there. So for everybody asking on the chat out there, yes, John is out, but he will be back next week for sure. So Paul, let me ask you this. So you kind of go through that manufacturing process, and you kind of hit that hiccup, and you were talking about that you did a Kickstarter campaign for your company. And so what is a Kickstarter campaign? How does that part work? And how did you use that for your business?
Yeah, so the Kickstarter's an online platform. Some folks are probably fairly familiar with it. You can go to Kickstarter.com and check things out. I'm sure there's lots of cool offerings on Kickstarter right now. But basically, you design a campaign. They have a process you go through where they sort of audit what you're offering to make sure that they feel it meets certain criteria. So there's a screening process you go through, which we did, and then once you do that, you essentially create a page or multiple pages on Kickstarter, kind of like creating a website, and a variety of offers for people who might choose to support you. So in our case, it was you can pre-order a product, you can pre-order a product plus get some, other cool stuff along with it. So we had 3 or 4 different kinds of options, and the big part of it is the energy and effort that goes into creating the actual Kickstarter page to start with. We created some videos and did all that sort of thing. And then I think, if anyone's out there thinking about doing a Kickstarter campaign, one of the things I would recommend you do is spend some time before you launch your page figuring out where your business is going to come from. We actually spent a fair bit of time before we launched the page on Kickstarter going out to our customer database, letting them know what we were doing, doing some email blasts, doing as much sort of social media stuff as we could at the time. And so we kind of had the pump primed when we launched the page, and I think that's what really helped to kind of get us some excitement over that first week or so. It was interesting when we launched the page that first day. It was like, holy smokes! It was like we're watching the thing click through. And so it was pretty exciting. But for anyone who's has a product, thinking they might want to do something on Kickstarter, of course, there's lots of other options now to GoFundMe and various other options. I really think you need to spend some time generating some excitement around what you're going to offer on Kickstarter before you launch, so that you can get some of that initial excitement around it. And then what happens is, if you get excitement around the product, then within the platform itself, other people who are, frequent Kickstarter supporters will see what's going. Hey, this product is, getting a lot of excitement. So you'll start to get some cool stuff going on from that, and expand a little bit from there.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. And then the other thing is, I'm assuming that, you that anxiety, as you saw that number keep growing and growing, right? You get super excited. You're like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Of course, Zach, my page would probably be at like 0. Would probably go negative, mine. No, that's great.
You owe money.
Right?
So, Paul, what have been some of the biggest challenges with the process of actually getting the product to market and then growing the business?
So, and we should talk a little bit about the product, just so the folks out there that might not be familiar with it have a little bit idea what we're chatting about too. But some of the big challenges we've had over the years is mostly around capital and supply chain. And as I had mentioned earlier, one of the big challenges you have in the pool industry is that you typically do, and particularly with a product like this, you're going to do 80% of your business between, April 1st and the end of July, probably, maybe even the end of June. And so in order to be able to do that, you have to have all the inventory in place that you need, and everything to really take advantage of the demand that's going to come about. So in order to do that, then you've had to prime your supply chain, way over here, and, other pool product manufacturers, people in the pool industry. This is nothing new to them. But when you're a startup, when you're an early stage company, it's a big deal. And to go to a bank and say, look, we did, $1 million in sales last year. We think we're going to do, $2.5 million. So I need you to loan me $1.5 million so that I can build all the inventory I need to be ready for pool season. You don't get a lot of takers for that sort of pitch. And so that's been that was always a very big challenge for us, and that was one of the reasons that the relationship with Pivot really helped us out, because they were large enough and had the skill set and had the capital that they were willing, as we got involved with them as a contract manufacturer, to help fund that gap in from when we needed to make the investments in the supply chain to when we get money back from our customers when we sell it. So that was always one of our biggest issues. And then, of course, all of the engineering and product development stuff that goes with this. And once again, the relationship with Pivot helped us close some of those gaps as well, so that we could focus more on the customer facing part of the business.
Right. That's great. So I do have a little question for you, and I'm gonna put you in the little hot seat here for just
Sure.
a second because I love the story of Ariel, and I think it's a great product. And I've listened to your journey kind of as you've gone through, and you've kind of gone up and down, and I think now you're poised to really be in a great spot with your product. Um, you're a business owner, and we know that running businesses aren't always easy. You always have the ups and downs, but everybody just always likes to talk about the ups. Nobody likes to talk about the downs. So, what advice would you have for a pool pro that is maybe struggling, and they kind of find that themselves in that situation where they're kind of, questioning what it is, what they're doing, and how do they push forward?
Right. Well, um, I guess there are a couple of things that I would suggest is that one, I would say take a step back and say, hey, do I love what I'm doing? Because a lot of times if you're really struggling, and this is what I've found in life, if you're struggling with whatever, whether it's business or other aspects of your life, um, maybe you're struggling with it because you're trying to do something that you're just not committed to, So I think you need to figure out, do I love what I'm doing? That's the first thing. Because if you don't love what you're doing, then go find something to do that you love, or love more, at least anyhow. Everything has its challenges and stresses and that sort of thing. But find something that when you wake up in the morning, you can say, hey, I'm kind of looking forward to doing this today. So if you don't love what you're doing, just go do something else. And a lot of times people struggle because they're doing stuff they just don't love. But if you step back and you say, hey, I love what I'm doing, then my next piece of advice is go ask for help. If a lot of times you're so immersed in whatever it is you're trying to build or grow or resolve or the problem, and you got all these different issues coming at you day to day. And a lot of times you don't even see the obvious things in your business or your life that are dragging you down. And so, if you love what you're doing and you want to keep doing it and you're struggling it, go ask for help. And, ask somebody that you respect, somebody that you think is doing a great job in what you want to be doing, somebody that you admire, and say, look, man, and so many people have trouble asking for help, right? It's like, it's kind of like admitting failure. It's kind of like, I'm admitting failure to myself, which is one of the hardest things, right? But
It's true.
just
Yeah.
get over it, and go ask for help. The people that you see that are wildly successful, I guarantee you that there's been hundreds of times in their life where they had problems they couldn't solve and they asked somebody for help. And I think those are, you know, that's probably the best thing you can do to solve a problem. Quit trying to do it all yourself. Go ask for help.
That's
Yeah, I gotta
awesome.
say that's really powerful advice, and I feel like it ties in a large way to the networking because you need that network to ask for help. And for me, definitely had numerous lows throughout this journey, and I am always asking for help or for advice from my network. And Edgar can attest to that because I'm always blowing him up with a lot of questions. But I think that's super huge advice right there.
I think that was a little bit of gold that he just dropped on
Right.
this podcast.
So what is the vision for Ariel behind creating it and pushing it forward? And what would you say is the biggest benefit for users of Ariel? And maybe explain the product
Sure.
here.
Yeah, I mean, Ariel came about, and of course, Ariel is the next iteration of the product we introduced originally as Solar Breeze. And ever since pools were invented, people have been trying to figure out, how do I keep these suckers clean, right? It's
Right.
like, because they're fun and they're awesome, but man, you get dirt and leaves and so it's been decades, right? Ever since pools have been around, people have been trying to figure out how to keep them clean. And for the last few decades, a lot of the focus has been on, well, what's the most efficient way to get the stuff off the bottom, the leaves and dirt and everything that's on the bottom of your pool, because that's where it ends up, comes in the surface, gets waterlogged, decays, gets to your bottom. How do we get it off of there? And, you know, I admire the original inventors of the product, Ennis and Terry, because they kind of looked at it differently and said, you know, all that stuff that's on the bottom, where is it coming from? And you say, well, it comes from the surface, right? I mean, it all lands on the surface to start with. And so what if we tried to get it off the surface first before it got to the bottom? And so that was kind of the concept of maybe we can turn the concept of pool cleanings sort of upside down a little bit, you know, and say, well, let's focus on how can we keep the top clean as effectively and efficiently. Yeah, you're still going to get stuff on the bottom, but if you get some stuff there, it's, you know, less of it. It's easier to keep the bottom clean if there's less material and that sort of thing. So, and the other thing we said was, or the you know, that went into the thinking was, you know, pools are in the sun, right? That's kind of the nature of pools for the most part. And so you got all this energy that's coming in from the sun. Is there a way that you can we can figure out how to, you know, use solar energy that's there in the pool to keep that surface clean? And so that was the sort of initial thought behind it, and how we went through the iteration. So Ariel, the product we have now, is basically a solar powered robot. You put in your pool, take it out of the box, put it in your pool, turn on the switch. Not too hard to use. There's 2 paddle wheels at the rear of the unit that push the unit through the water. There's a single paddle wheel at the front that spins and scoops up all of the debris and pulls that debris and dust and pollen and basically anything that's floating on the surface of your pool, pulls it inside the unit. All of the water that comes through the unit is filtered out through a 200 micron screen filter mesh in the debris basket at the inside the unit. So all of that water on the surface gets filtered, and it filters out basically anything you can see on the surface of your pool. So dust, pollens, you know, any of the organic materials floating on your surface. In fact, one of the feedbacks we get from our customers is say, wow, my pool always looks sparkly clean. You know, it's like, because you get down and you look at the surface of your pool and you can see kind of dust film and that sort of stuff on it. Well, that goes away and your pool always looks sparkling clean. So the unit runs all day while the sun is shining because it's got these solar panels on top. But these solar panels generate enough power that while it's running during the day, it also charges a battery, a lithium-ion battery that's on board. And when the sun goes down at night, then it keeps running off of battery power. And how long it runs at night kind of depends on how much sun you got during the day and how big your pool is and how many times it has to go into reverse and those kinds of things. But it'll typically run, if it gets a full charge during the day, it'll run anywhere from 10 to 16 hours off a full battery charge. So lots of our customers, particularly with their 2022 model of Ariel, report that, hey, you know, this unit pretty much runs through the night, runs almost 24 hours a day in my pool. So if you think about that, you're getting that much cleaning action on the surface of your pool almost around the clock, then there's a lot less debris that goes to the bottom. You get less debris in the bottom, you get less decay, so less bacteria in your pool, and just the whole thing just makes it easier to keep your pool clean. A lot of people say I end up using less chlorine. I don't have to run my pool pump as much, don't have to run some of my other cleaning equipment as much. So it adds, we believe, real value to the pool cleaning process, and certainly that's the feedback we get from our customers as well.
So, Zach, 2 things. So, first of all, if you think about it, it's true. Everything that comes into the pool, at least all the debris and all that kind of stuff, is going to start at the top of the pool, and it's going to take some time to hit the bottom, right? Rocks are different. They get into the pool, they go right back to the bottom. But most of the stuff, whether it's the pollen or any of that kind of stuff, it really hits the surface of the pool. So if you're addressing that and tackling that right there from the beginning, you are going to solve a lot of these other issues. And then you have this robot that has a 200 micron that's filtering that water that's going through at the same time. It's great. Point number 2, Zach, that I always tell you, and I always kick myself in the butt, I don't have the ability, right? Like, I've always thought, hey, we should come up with some type of product, right? And I think everybody always thinks that, but think about this product. So you have somebody looking at a pool going, hey, there's a problem with all the stuff on the top of the surface. So how do we address that? How do we create something to get that off the top? Oh, and by the way, there's sun up at the top that can actually feed that thing to there. And it's like, he talks about it. My brain just thinks I'm never going to be able to come up with a product because my brain just does not think. I want to come up with a product, Zach, but I don't think it'll ever be my idea.
I'm right there with you. I'm not creative at all. But one thing I love about it, that I was actually reading an article, a blog article, and it was on your website, but it talked about the environmental effect of swimming pools and how we don't really realize how big of an impact the swimming pools have on the environment. And I think it's cool because I'm kind of that mindset of, when I'm putting away or throwing away a lot of the waste from, buckets and bags and things like that, I sit there and scratch my head and I wonder, how can we as a company become just a little bit more environmentally friendly, because this is ridiculous. So I'm always looking for ways to try to move towards that goal. And I think this is a great product for all the reasons that you just listed. So I think that's a super cool part of it that a lot of people may not think about.
Yeah, to me, I love it in the way that I think of it, Zach, is you put one of those units in and you have somebody netting your pool 24 hours a day. I mean, you're a pool pro, you show up to that pool, the majority of that pool is already going to be netted. Imagine how much time you're going to save doing that. So,
And we get that feedback from pool pros all the time that say, look, if a customer has one of these robots in their pool, I spend less time with each call. And the other thing that allows you to do as a pool pro is focus on the things that add more value to your customer. Really focus on the pool chemistry, make sure we're getting that right, check their other equipment, see if there's anything that needs to be done there. Do the things that probably add more value to the customer in your relationship with them than just getting out there and skimming debris off. The other thing that's interesting that's come up, and this is, it's monsoon season in Arizona right now, so that's where we're from.
uh-huh.
And so I've had pool pros out there that say, I go and I service this pool at 10 o'clock in the morning, and monsoon wind blows in, and I get a call from the customer when he gets home at 5 and says, "Did you clean my pool today?" Because, well, of course he did, but you get the monsoon that rolls in and it looks pretty bad. And so, having one of these in your customer's pool can maybe sometimes help you avoid some of those phone calls as well, because the unit's there doing that while after you've gone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue our conversation with Paul.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today. Pivot how you clean pools. Debris that makes it to the bottom always enters from the surface. Clean from the top with Ariel, a smart solar-powered pool skimming robot. She works around the clock skimming pesky and fine debris off the pool surface. Tell your customers about Ariel and earn big commission on every sale. With advanced solutions like Ariel, you'll spend less time at the pools you service, improve customer relations, and increase your bottom line. Plus, pool owners will enjoy a constantly swim-ready and healthy pool and lower energy bills. Visit pivotpoolproducts.com/dealers to see how much you can earn and for resources on how to get your customers to ditch the net for good.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation podcast. We're talking to Paul Sim.
I like that last ad.
You like that last ad? I was talking on break to Spider, and Spider had a great point, Zach, and that is that we talk about John, the fastest netter in the West, and he just said, you're talking to Paul about this unit. That thing is going to net, so you guys might as well just X out John from the podcast because the fastest netter in the West isn't going to have a need. Yeah. Right, Spider?
Fastest water tester in the West.
Exactly.
There you go.
So, John, we're going to either have to rebrand you or put on there, Pivot, the fastest netter in the fastest skimmer in the West. So, anyways, so we continue our conversation. We're talking to Paul. We're talking about Pivot Pool Products, specifically Ariel, and what it is that it does. So we've talked a little bit about the product. So why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe the changes from the first product that you put out and maybe the changes that you've made along the years and the changes that the current one has?
Right. So the biggest change we made when we transitioned from Solar Breeze and the NX and NX2 series was in how the unit navigates. The NX and NX2 series had bumper wheels at the front of the unit that rotated in opposite directions. People can go online and see videos and that sort of thing. And a single paddle wheel at the rear. So the paddle wheel would propel the unit through the water. When it hit the edge of the pool, those bumper wheels would cause the unit to turn in one direction or the other. And of course, running those bumper wheels, there was a whole mechanical system that went with that. And, one of the biggest challenges we had with that particular design was designing the mechanics around those bumper wheels so that they were reliable and didn't break down. And, there's just a lot of parts associated with it. And with anything, the more parts you have, the more probability you have for something to break down. So when we transitioned to Ariel, we decided to do a couple of things. One, rather than just having a single paddle wheel across the rear of the unit, we now have two. So that allows it to steer. Paddle wheels can turn in opposite directions, can turn at different speeds, and so the unit can steer. And now instead of the bumper wheels at the front, we have sensors at the front of the unit instead, optical sensors. So as the unit's going through the water and it sees the edge of the pool, or it might see a rock outcropping you have, or your waterfall, or people have fancy seating and that sort of thing in their pool. So if it sees an obstruction like that, the sensors, of course, send a message to, through the software to the motors and say, hey, we got to avoid this obstruction. So the motors make a decision of, I either rotate in opposite directions to turn, or I turn at a slightly different speed, or whatever. So, and by eliminating those front bumper wheels for steering, we eliminated a whole bunch of parts and components with with the unit, and so as a result, you know, improve the reliability and reduce the mechanical breakdowns that we had with some of the earlier models. So that was one of the big and primary changes we made with the unit. The other thing we did was, you know, we looked around the business and everything was blue and white, and which makes sense, you know, any pool business blue and white, and we were blue and white, and we thought, well, let's change it up a little bit, and so. And it's interesting. We have what we think are really cool colors with Ariel right now, the green and the sort of. I call it purple. I think my marketing person would has
Have
a
a fit with
fancier
that.
has a fancier name for it. I can't remember what they call it, but and it's cool, and so it really does kind of stand out. You know, and we've had actually a lot of positive feedback from the color changes, because it's different. It doesn't necessarily look exactly like every other pool product you look at. So that's one thing. The other issue is we've done some work on the electronics, and once again, particularly with the 2022 version, to improve the efficiency in the solar, the way we're managing the power in the unit, to and also how we're managing the power within the motors to try to maximize the energy that we're getting from the solar panels as well.
So you have this evolution along the way where you're making these improvements and these changes. Are there anything that you're now kind of looking at for the future that you're thinking like, hey, this might be a good idea, or this might be something to do down the road?
Yeah, so one of the steps we would like to take with the product is turning it into a sort of IoT product, and Internet of Things, with an app that would allow a end user or pool pro to connect with the product. And that would give us, you know, some options like downloading software updates, if there are those. So that would add some value there. Potentially setting up some options for like intermittent operation on cloudy days, so that you could, you know, the unit could shut down for a while, absorb more power, and then that would allow it to operate a little bit further into the night on cloudy days, those kinds of things. So I think having that IoT interconnection is probably, you know, one of the next steps. And then once you have that, you know, we've talked about options like, you know, are there ways, you have this robot going around your pool, what other things could it do for you, and information could it collect about your pool that might be of interest to the customer or the pool pro? And obviously, you know, if it had the capability of monitoring water chemistry while it's going around the pool, that would be kind of an interesting option as well. So we're exploring some options around that. Of course, you have limited power, and you don't want to, you know, detract from its primary purpose in adding features to the unit. So those are all challenges and complications that go with it. But those are some areas that we're looking at.
That's pretty cool, Zach, huh? Be able to have this robot where you can kind of monitor, and not only that, be able to know your water chemistry into it. Zach, you're on mute. You're doing what John does. You kind of just.
There we go. That would be super cool. You could have an all-in-one unit. But like you said, I definitely understand that there will be its challenges to figure that out as far as like the power consumption and stuff. But man, that would be amazing.
But can you imagine all those things that you really could add to this unit? I mean, this really could be a huge, powerful tool, especially if it's sitting in that water. You can kind of manage the power. You can see the app. And I'm thinking right off the bat, Zach, and John's not here, and he'd probably agree. But right off the bat, I start thinking that unit, especially with the vacation rental industry right now, to be able to have that thing in there netting for you, right? And then being able to obviously monitor chemicals and all that kind of stuff, and have this one unit, that would be pretty badass.
I'm concerned though, because John was the fastest netter in the West, and Paul comes and shoots that down. And so we move him to the fastest tester in the West, and Paul throws something out and shoot that down. What are we going to do after that?
I'm starting to believe that the reason that Paul is here is he's got an agenda to get rid of John.
No. There's always going to be a role for
John.
for pool pros in this industry, and customers, especially as you get generational change, and I'm going to sound like an old guy because I am, but and I know this is true with my kids who are all millennials too. The enthusiasm for looking after stuff yourself, I think, it goes down a little bit with each generation.
True.
And so I think you need to look at it more of, how do pool pros use some of these technologies to, make their lives easier, expand their routes, look after more customers, do all those kinds of things. And we think that's, we don't think we're ever going to replace a pool pro, because customers, at the end of the day, they do business with people they trust, and they trust their pool guys, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And doing water chemistry and doing all that is not as easy as cutting the lawn or something like that. It's a lot.
And it's also just because what what the chemistry is in your water doesn't always mean what the next step is, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this, because it sounds like you kind of had this product with this primary reason, and so I see it doing some great things. So where does that desire come from? Where does that fire come from to continue to grab that and look at it and say, I don't want the one paddle in the back. Now I want two. Now I want sensors in the front. Now we're looking at this. Like where does that come from to want to continue to push that product to be a better product?
Well, I think the primary motivation always comes from your customers, right? And how do you, if you have something that you believe adds value to your customers, you should always be asking yourself the question, well, how do I make it even better? How do I add even more value? How do I help make their lives even easier if I'm already making it easier? And I think, whether you're in the robotics business or whether you're, in the pool service business or whatever business you're in, that's a good question that you should always be asking yourself is how can I do this better? How can I make my customers happier? And how can we provide even better value than we already are? Because I guarantee if you're not thinking like that, there's probably a competitor out there that is, right?
Yep.
So you might as well be the one to get there first. And so that, I think that's what really motivates us, is that how do we add better and more value to our customers with every iteration of the product, and with every change we make to the business to try to serve them better.
Yeah, if you stay complacent, then you'll eventually phase out. Because like you said, there's someone out there that's thinking, what can I do for them to make their lives easier? So I kind of want to shift gears here. And you guys are doing something great with the Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have going on there?
Yeah, this is something special we're running in the month of August. Every kid or child deserves an opportunity to have fun in a pool, right? And to be able to do that safely. There are a lot of foster kids that just don't get those kinds of opportunities. So we've partnered up with the Friends of Foster Children Foundation to offer help fund their program where they offer swim lessons to foster kids and give them opportunities to spend time in a swimming pool and have some fun and learn how to swim. For product that's ordered on our website through the month of August, we're donating $20 per unit to this charity to help them reach out to foster kids and help those children have fun in a pool somewhere.
That's awesome. I do have a quick question that was sent in here into the chat, and that is, why not make it a plug-in like a dolphin vacuum?
Well, so part of the advantage we think we have is that it doesn't have a cord or a hose or anything like that. And so it doesn't have that restriction, or it doesn't require that you have access to power close by or any of those things. And because, there's more than enough power, and it is a surface cleaner, and so those solar panels are always exposed to the sun. It's always in there in the sun. So we feel that we can, if we design the product properly, we can get enough energy out of the sun for it to do its job on an ongoing basis. And the fact that it doesn't have a cord or a hose or something like that is actually an advantage as opposed to a disadvantage.
Yeah. And the one thing that I like about it, Zach, so I got some, excuse me, I got some units, and then I did not open it on purpose because I wanted to wait till Paul came. And so I asked him, how easy is it to put this unit? So if I'm a homeowner and I get this box, how easy is it? And so we're in Studio A, and he just slices the box open. He pulls it out, and it's really lightweight. He just pulls this thing out, takes the plastic off of it, presses the power button because it's charged, like 70%, Paul?
Yeah, they usually ship with 60 or 70% charge, something like that.
And Zach, all you do is you press the on button, and you put it in the water, and you're done. I mean, it was literally cut the box, pull it out, press the button, throw it in the pool, you walk away. There's no programming, there's no setting anything. It's boop, 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 drop, and you're gone.
Yeah, it's very straightforward to use, and when some of the pool pros that we're already working with, we even drop ship to their customers, so they'll be on their route and they'll be talking with a customer, and they might mention this product, and the customer says, "Hey, I'd really like to have one of those." They'll just send us an email. You can email dealers@solarbreeze.com, dealers@solarbreeze.com, SolarBreeze, all one word. You just let us know what you want. If you want to place an order, give us your customer information and or your customer's information, and we'll actually drop ship to your customer if you like. So you don't have to worry about going to SCP to pick it up or doing whatever. Just contact us, send the order. We'll drop ship it. We'll send you an invoice that you can pay, and we'll go from there. We've still got work to do to make it easier and easier for dealers and pool pros to do business with us. The next step is creating an online portal for our dealers so that you can go right in, place an order online. We can either ship it to you if you want, or ship it to your customer, whichever you prefer. We'll have options for both of those, but that way we're trying to make it as seamless as possible for pool pros to help customers get this product in their pool, because we think it'll add value to both the customers and themselves.
So currently, if a pool pro wants to pick up an Ariel, what's the best way, or how would they go about getting one?
Yeah, so I would do exactly what we just talked about. Just email us, dealers@solarbreeze.com. If you haven't done business with us before, give us some information about yourself, your company name, and that sort of thing. We'll likely send you out. We have a little dealer agreement that we have. And one of the things in that dealer agreement I want to mention is that we're going to ask in the agreement that you not list the product on Amazon or Walmart or any of these other platforms. And the reason we do that is we are trying to make sure that we manage our pricing on those platforms in a way that doesn't disadvantage the pool pros and retailers and other people who are starting to carry our product. So we have an exclusive reseller on Amazon. They also manage the listing on Walmart for us. And part of our agreement with them is that they will never list the product at below our retail price, which is $598. And so that's just kind of a way for us, to control that. But as a result of that, whenever we bring a new dealer on board, we ask you to make that same commitment that says, "Hey, I'm not going to create a listing on Amazon to compete with these folks that we've given an exclusive to." So that's some of the give and take there that hopefully protects it. And our standard pricing to pool pros is about 30% off of retail. We have different others, programs from time to time that we'll offer, and sometimes you can get a little better deals than that. But so you have some opportunity to make a little bit of margin, and especially if we end up if we make it easy for you and we'll just drop ship it to your customer and they can put it in their pool, and then the next time you stop by next week, it's there and it's starting to do the job for them. So we're trying to work through processes to make it as easy as possible.
So two quick things. So to me, Zach, I would love it that they could drop ship to the customer, because two things are going to happen. A, I don't have to manage it, right? They're just going to drop it, ship it to the customer. The other thing is the customer is going to get this box in their front door. And come on, let's admit it. Even when you order from Amazon, you know what's coming in the mail and you kind of get excited about it. But, they're going to call you and they're like, hey, what do I do with this thing? Slice the box open, press the on button, throw it in the pool. We'll see you next week. It's just that. It's just that simple. I was going to put you in the hot seat because one of the questions that I did have for you, Paul, was, how do you protect the pool guys? Because I think we still see a lot of this where product is found online where the customer can kind of go and find it cheaper. And then the pool guys, put in a bad spot where the customer's like, hey, you're trying to rip me off, or why are you overpricing this when I can get it for this price? So I think that's great that you're kind of managing that price. Now, when you sell it to the pool pro, they get 30% discount, you said, right?
Right.
So then they can mark up that 30%. So basically they make that 30% profit.
You can sell it at whatever price you want. The only thing you can't do under our agreement is advertise it at less than
under that
than the retail price. But yeah, I mean, you whatever price you want to sell it to your customer is your business with your customer. But you have the opportunity to make up to that 30%. And as I said, sometimes we offer some other special programs once in a while that'll allow you to make a little bit more than that as well. Also, just so you know, we don't sell through distribution right now. We are only selling, dealer, Pool Pro direct. And part of the reason for that is that we've chosen not to go through distribution at this point because it is harder to control that retail price in the marketplace once we make that step. It may be necessary at some point in time as we grow the business to consider that as an option. For right now, we don't see that as an option in the next few years, at least anyhow, as part of our growth plan. We would prefer to grow and make it as easy as possible for dealers to do business directly with us rather than having to go through distribution.
Yeah, that's great. And I was sitting over here doing the math because John's not here. John can do the math in his head, but at 70%, that's like 418, 417.
Yeah, 415 is
415
is the standard pool price. Yeah.
So if you sell it to the customer and you sell it at the same price that it's found online, you can make $180, Zach. That's a good profit for. I mean, literally all you're doing is ordering it. They're drop shipping it for you, so you're making $180 for putting an order online. You can't beat that.
We think so. we think it's a good deal.
No, I think so too. I think that's great, and that you're protecting the pool guy. That's my biggest pet peeve, right? It's like, how can we protect them so that they don't get burned? So you're at the stage. You got the new product. You're ready to go. You've kind of partnered with Pivot Pool Products. What's your go-to?
Yeah, no, I got to correct that. We haven't kind of. We are Pivot Pool Products, and Pivot is the company that really owns us at this point in time. And thank goodness for that. We appreciate that relationship.
Good. So what is your go-to market strategy or your distribution plan, and how do the pool pros fit into that idea?
Yeah, so we started the company basically on a direct-to-consumer basis. People went to our website and ordered, and then we had an Amazon listing, and people could order through there. And we've realized that we cannot achieve the level of market penetration we need by strictly being a direct-to-consumer business. So we need to build our relationships with pool retailers, with pool pros, even pool builders, and start to diversify the channels that we're going through. And this year was kind of really the first year that we had started to build some significant volume through those channels. And that's part of the reason that we've thought about, okay, if we're going to build through those channels, we still sell direct on our website, but we always sell at retail price. We're going to still sell on Amazon. It's kind of we can't sacrifice that volume at this point in time as we build volumes through other channels. But can we manage that relationship in a way that it protects these people who are making a commitment to us by either stocking our product or selling it to their customers? So, we talked about how we're managing that. And then I think that the Pool Pro, we think the Pool Pro channel is a really important channel for us as we grow this business, because those folks have the relationship with the customer, and I'm sure hopefully there's lots of pool pros out there listening that, maybe can even think of half a dozen pools on their route that could really use one of these units in their pool. Might solve some heartaches and headaches for them if they had something like that in this customer's pool. But that customer is much more likely to make a commitment to our product if it's recommended by the pool professional than it is if they just see it online, or they see an ad on one of our ads on Facebook or something like that. So we think that's a really important channel, and we really want to build the relationships with the pool pros so that we can leverage those relationships into expanding, the number of pools that Ariel is in and helping people clean.
Great.
So will you guys be attending the International Pool and Spa Show?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have our booth booked and lots of plans in place. Our marketing team is working with the marketing team at Pool and Spa Show to do some other things that will be interesting as well. So yeah, we'll be there, and we're looking forward to talking to lots of people there as well. It's always a fun event. Yeah, it was awesome to get back to doing it in person last year in Dallas, and we're looking forward to being in Vegas this year as well.
Are you doing any other shows? Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, we're expecting to do the Aqua Show in North Carolina. I think that's in October, and then we usually do the Northeast Pool and Spa Show in Atlantic City in January as well. We may do a few of the regional shows. Haven't made any specific commitments at this point in time, but reaching out to the pool industry is a real critical part of what we're going to be doing over the next couple of years, and getting people familiar with what we do, familiar with the value of the product, and hopefully encouraging their customers to get one for their pools.
If Edgar lets me out of the booth this year, I'll stop by and say hi.
We'd love to see you guys, and love to see anyone who's listening that's planning to be in Vegas this year. I think it'll be a great show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're doing the Pool Nation Awards. So you going to the Pool Nation Awards?
I'm sure that we will.
All right. So
now that we're a sponsor of the show.
So see, there we'll hit you with 200 people right there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I did get Zach last night on the on our chat. So we've got a chat with a whole bunch of the pool pros, and so you had Chad that was messaging, and Brett and Benny, and they're all talking, Zach, about all the rooms that they've already booked and all that kind of stuff and where they're staying. I'm like, holy crap, I better get my game on. I haven't even booked my room. I'm like, yeah, I got all the pool pros going, and I'm not even ready yet. So
yeah, I'm slacking too.
Just as an addition to that, I'll give you guys a heads up too. Part of the reason we've transitioned in branding from initially we started out as Pivot Solar Breeze after Pivot acquired us, and we've transitioned more into Pivot Pool Products, is we see that Ariel will be part of a family of products that will become Pivot Pool Products over the next couple of years. So I'm not going to give a lot away, but I think if you stop by our booth at the show, you'll probably see, in addition to Ariel, maybe a couple of other things that you might want to chat about as well. So, like I say, I won't give away too much just at this point in time, but I think by the show in Vegas, we'll have a couple of other cool things to chat about also.
I cannot believe he just did that, Zach. He has not even told me about those, and then all of a sudden he's dropping it off here. I'm like, damn, no, he did not.
Well, you know,
Gotta go by the booth.
I gotta
go by the
give you
booth,
the
right?
odd little surprise here, Edgar.
you know-
I can't.
You know what I'm going to do to him too, Zach, is I think on the day of the Pool Nation Awards, I'm just going to, this is how I'm going to get revenge on everybody. Just he'll be sitting there. I'll be like, "Here, come up and present an award," and he'll be like, "But what?" And I'm like,
No.
now I'm getting
I
even
would
from the
love-
podcast.
I would love to do that. I'd love to do that.
So, hey guys, before we take our final word from our sponsors here, Shannon was asking, what is the Pool Girls training? And Shannon, what we're doing is we're doing a financial business class for just the Pool Girls. It's the financial business class that we do that you have to do some homework. You bring your numbers. By the time that you're done with the class, you get to know exactly what your cost of service is. You get to know your profit percentage. You have to plug all those numbers into a software program. And as we go through the class and talk about cash flow and talk about all these different things, by the time the class is done, you're going to know exactly financially how good or bad your business is doing. So that's going to be the financial business class. We're going to do it a session for Pool Girls only. And then the Friday night before, we're going to be doing a networking event for the women in the industry. And we have already women coming from everywhere, from Atlanta, from Maryland, from North Carolina, from California. And so it's going to be a networking event with other women in the industry. There'll be 3 different, short, maybe 30, 45-minute sessions with regards to leadership and branding and all that. Then there's going to be a Q&A with a couple of other females in the industry, some CEOs of companies, some COOs. And then at the end of that event, we'll have some separate tables for them so that some of the women that don't ask the questions and want to talk to them directly, they can go there and ask them those questions. So that's going to be September 23rd and September 24th. So Shannon, I would actually really love for you to come out if you can make it out. So send me a message and I'll send you some more details out there. So Zach, Paul, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, Zach, I want to get your final thoughts.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today. Pivot how you clean pools. Debris that makes it to the bottom always enters from the surface. Clean from the top with Ariel, a smart solar-powered pool skimming robot. She works around the clock skimming pesky and fine debris off the pool surface. Tell your customers about Ariel and earn big commission on every sale. With advanced solutions like Ariel, you'll spend less time at the pools you service, improve customer relations, and increase your bottom line. Plus, pool owners will enjoy a constantly swim-ready and healthy pool and lower energy bills. Visit pivotpoolproducts.com/dealers to see how much you can earn and for resources on how to get your customers to ditch the net for good.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We're talking to Paul with Pivot Pool Products and Ariel. We're also talking to Zach. So I did save this one for last, Zach, and I told Paul that I was going to call him out on it now when we came back to the thing. So we go to the studio yesterday. We go to do these videos. He like nails it. There's no ahs, there's no ums, there's no nothing. He's like into it. He's going. And so I was there with Cooper and David, and we were joking around, and we're like, dude, you need to go into like acting. Like, you're just so natural at this, and you're just, And then he comes into the studio today, and I don't know if you noticed, Zach. He comes into the studio, very quiet, sits down, all that. And then we go to start the podcast, and I'm Paul Sim with Pivot Pool, and he's got like this radio voice, and I'm like, I'm telling Paul, I think you need to kind of think about your life choices, because I think he could be a total full-blown actor and then turn around and do radio at the same time and just do that multifacet.
Well,
Well, that's it. That's why he's trying to get rid of John. He's trying to fill the seat.
Yeah. Well,
it all came out.
People have told me I have a great voice for radio, but they've also told me I have a great face for radio. So
you just wait till you see those videos coming out, Zach, because he was just like on it and natural, and so it was awesome.
Well,
so.
It's been fun. I mean, you guys are fun to work with, and it's been a great experience the last couple of days being around with you, Edgar, and we appreciated the opportunity to do it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, I did take him to Summer Moon. And yes, I did take him to Tenders. How were those ribs, Paul?
Oh man, they were brilliant. They were awesome. Yeah. That's good barbecue. That's some good barbecue.
And I loved walking in, Zach, because it's kind of like with Zach, we walk in and like, we don't want any sides. We just want meat, right? Like we want brisket, we want ribs, we want, the jalapeno sauce, or what other meat you got back there, So, so it was great.
Yeah.
So
it was meat and water.
Yep. So we definitely, I have definitely enjoyed spending time with you, Paul, to get to listen to your story, to get to listen to your drive, to get you to listen to your story of kind of how you guys have gotten to where you are today and where you guys are positioning yourselves. I think you guys are going to be very successful. And I truly believe that, moving forward, pool pros and homeowners and whatever it is, this is a product that you need to look into. Specifically, if I'm a pool pro, this thing is netting for me, right? That's the first thing that I'm thinking. The second thing is, like you were saying, everything that comes into the pool starts at the surface. So if you could start to address that as soon as that gets into the water, that's a huge thing. And this thing has a filter, Zach, that's 200 microns. So that thing is so it's a multi-purpose thing that's going to be able to allow you to do your job a lot more efficiently. And I really can't wait to see what other things you guys add to this product. And I'm hoping, excuse me, Zach, that here we are 2 or 3 years down the road, and you've got this robot that we were able to see that journey of that product and have it become this really cool, awesome product that a lot of pool guys can use out there. So I really enjoyed spending time with you. It was great hanging out with you yesterday, get to meet with you guys. All of you guys have been awesome. Love working with Taylor. Taylor, big, huge shout out to you.
Big shout out to Taylor. She did a great job helping us get organized for this. So really appreciate Taylor Cole, who's on our marketing team.
Yeah, and I told you this yesterday. I spend a lot of time talking to a lot of marketing people, and she's awesome. I am going to call you out, Taylor, because you didn't come out, and I was trying to get you to come out. So we'll kind of keep that one on the down low right there. So, Zach, let me get your
Well, I
final.
think she's gonna be at the pool show in Vegas, so you'll get to meet her in person if you come to the pool show in Vegas.
Talk about throwing onto the stage, Zach.
Yeah,
I'll get even.
and I'm saying that to the nation out there, so that now Taylor's committed to coming to the pool show.
I love it.
Vegas.
I love it. I love
Because
it.
I want her to be there.
I love
Her
it.
and Hannah both.
So, guys, you have the invitation, and now you're in the hot seat. So, Zach, final thoughts.
Yeah, and I want to agree with everything that you just said. And something you said earlier is that we tend to always see the success, and we don't see how hard of a journey it was to actually get to that point. So it's really awesome to hear those stories. And you guys have a very unique and innovative product. And I'm already sitting here thinking of creative ways that pros could utilize Ariel in their service offerings to help them provide a more cost-effective, more efficient, more profitable service. So, other than that, thanks for spending the time with us today. It has been a lot of fun, and I'm really jealous that I wasn't out there with you guys. So next time I'll have to be there.
My pleasure. Look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely. So, all right, everybody out there listening, we appreciate you coming on, listening to our live podcast. We will catch everybody on the next Instagram Live on Wednesday. Till then, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll catch you guys on the other side. Have a great one. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Zach, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.